Welcome to Taking Healthy Back with Maria, with your host, Maria Malec, experience coach, conscience educator, and destination retreat host, presents to you countless ways to overcome an overwhelmed, overprocessed, and over-medicated lifestyle. She'll be covering everything wellness, from getting more from life than you put into it, destination retreats to healthy cooking and conscious education. So please welcome the host of Taking Healthy Back with Maria.
Greetings, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Taking Healthy Back with Maria. I'm your host, Maria Malec, and we have another great show today. I think they're all great. You know you're going to get everything wellness here, and it really is incredible how social media has put me in touch with so many people doing so many good things. So today our show is about eco wellness and real impact. And our guest is Laide, the Pickytarian. And in this episode, we're going to explore how Pickytarian is redefining wellness with a focus on giving back and being kinder to the environment. We're going to discuss their commitment to donating 5% of sales to organizations fighting hunger and homelessness and their approach to sustainability. Choosing eco-friendly materials for disposal dinnerware while encouraging reuse wherever possible. So join me with my guest, Laide, the Pickytarian. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi, Maria. It's really nice to meet you. Again, thank you for having me on the broadcast, and I'm definitely a Pickytarian for sure.
So why don't we start off by defining what Pickytarian is?
Yeah, I'll give you a sense of how it started. So growing up, I've always been a picky eater. So my food habits are kind of weird. It's really embarrassing as an adult. But so whenever I'd go to restaurants, a lot of my friends are vegetarians or pescatarians, and they'd be like, "What about you?" And I would just always be like, "Oh, I'm a pickytarian," and everyone would laugh. But the thing is, like, I'm weird. I have like weird food habits. There's certain things I don't eat. Like I don't eat cheese, but I'll have it on pizza. I don't like onions, but I'll have it on like certain types of food. So it's just like random and not very consistent. And so it just started from my food eating habits. And then when I was starting the company, Pickytarian, I was trying to find the name for the business. And I realized that, it actually sort of translates to the kind of products we're making. And, you don't have to care about certain things, but when you do, you're kind of being picky. And so that's really how that sort of translated to the business as well.
So why don't you share with our audience what exactly Pickytarian does, your products, your mission?
Yeah. Yeah, vegetarian stemmed from an idea that I had a very, very long time ago. I used to host dinners with friends, and I never, I had a roommate. I never had enough to like host, 12, 14 people in our tiny apartment. And I would always find myself going to get some disposable single-use items. And then I noticed over time a lot of the things we were using were always single-use plastic. And as I became sort of more aware of how toxic plastic was, I was like, okay, like I don't want to be using single disposable plastic plates and cutlery. It's just not, I'm just contributing more harm to the environment. And then when I started looking more into like eco-friendly, compostable, biodegradable options, many of them were just kind of ugly and boring. And I was just like, why do they all look drabby and just not really nice? Because we were always doing like nice dinners and we cared about design and decor and aesthetics, but the plates were not really reflecting that. And so I had the idea for, years, and thought about it almost every day for like 4 years. And then eventually I was like, let me just go start it. And so the whole point of Pickytarian is really, we always encourage you to reuse as much as possible. Obviously, avoid single use when as much as you can. But we're aware that there are special occasions where you have to use single use items because it's more
Sure.
convenient, it's probably cheaper, you don't have to do a lot of cleanup, it allows you to spend more time with making memories with your friends and family. And so we're all about offering high quality, eco-friendly party plates and cutlery for those special occasions. So people use them for birthday parties, dinners, weddings, just anything where you need a little bit of pizzazz and like nice aesthetics and colors and just good quality products as well.
And I have a couple samples here that I used in my recent milestone birthday of 60 years. And let
Happy
me tell you,
birthday. It's awesome.
Thank you. Well, first of all, here's the dinner plate. Can you see how big? And here's the appetizer, or whatever plate. They're big. You can. I'm telling you, you can fit a lot of stuff on this plate. And the color here doesn't really represent the beautiful color. It's like a purple, but a pink, like a light color. And the other one, what is beige? I think.
Beige and white so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
This just exemplified, the colors that I like, kind of blended with my dress at the party. People were really
Nice.
impressed with how beautiful they were. And then the cutlery too. There were forks, knives, and spoons that were
Yes.
included. And all of these are biodegradable. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. They're compostable, biodegradable. Yes, that is correct.
So, my big thing with everything I do in health and wellness is, what is the source? So, can you tell me what these products are made from and how you found it? I mean, it just seems like such a big undertaking to me to start a product line like this and then to produce such a great quality. Very classy, I want to tell you.
Thank you so much. That's exactly what we were going for. So the materials are made of bamboo and sugarcane pulp, which are compostable, renewable resources that are easily found in the environment. So we use those to make the plates, and then the cutlery is also made of bamboo and some compostable material as well. And so the
Mhm.
whole point of designing the product, I have a background in manufacturing from working at some big tech companies, and so I sort of knew the process of going from 0 to 1. And then, with designing the product, I wanted something to be more unique. So a lot of plates tend to be square or circle. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, can we have different shapes? Just something more interesting with plates that are just not the typical standard plates that are out there. And so I was sort of looking for something that was just more unique. And over time, I noticed that I was sort of gravitating more towards like some sort of leafy shapes. So depending on how you turn it, it could look like a little bit of a leaf, which I also think
Which I
extends to
love.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Which I also think extends to like the earth and the environment and really just going back to like the source.
Do you think you'll get into other colors, or,
Yes.
and what kind of colors do you use on there? I'm sure it's got to be some kind of food grade.
Yeah, so we use food grade ink. That's what we use to like get the colors and to make them more consistent. As far as other colors, we've had a lot of requests for a lot of other different colors. We're a
Hmm.
small team, so cannot do everything. But the goal in the next year is to come up with new colors for the spring, for the summer. We're going to think about 3 or 4 different colors to add to that. Then eventually, we also want to expand to other designs as well. So we're going to give you your standard circle and round and
Yeah.
square plates, but we're also going to think of other unique things. We're also going to add things like napkins to the fold. A lot of
Mhm.
customers have asked me for like, do you guys make napkins? It'd be great to have that. People have asked me for cups, and I'm like, I would love to do that, but I don't know how. I want to make sure it's unique and classy and stands out, and I haven't figured out how to design that yet. But when I get there, I will definitely
Sure.
like do that. So we're just taking baby steps for now. So we're going to start with more colors
Phenomenal.
next year, and then more shapes, and then take it from there.
Well, and I think it's harder with the cups because I know most paper cups have that plastic coating in there. And again, that's, if you put hot stuff in there, you're getting the microplastics. So
Mhm.
even though they might be a better quality, you're still getting that crap, which I know
Exactly.
I'm trying to eradicate out of my body. I'm really so impressed. And the other great thing is you give great customer service. I remember I was in a crunch time and there may have been a misunderstanding with my order, and you expedited it. So I got it the day before the event. And you gave me a lot of peace of mind in that. So great customer service as well.
Thank you so much. I think that's what we're all about. It's a small business, but as somebody who also supports other businesses, I think customer service is the first thing people let go because everyone's overwhelmed. But I've also learned that that is a strength for any business. And you may not compete on price, but you can compete on customer service, and we hope to stand out in that department.
Hey, I think the price is great. I think a lot of companies like this kind of gouge us with prices because it's such a specialty product. And I've been to your site many times, and you have a lot of sales, like a buy one, get one half off or 15% off. I mean, you've really covered all the bases. And we
Thank
as
you.
consumers appreciate that, truly,
Thank
because
you so much.
you're a consumer too, you know?
I
So,
am.
right?
I
I
get
have a
it.
bunch of questions. I'm not sure that I'll get to them all, but I just wanted to touch upon different things to give you some exposure and let people really know what you're all about. And
Sounds good.
you're redefining wellness. How does Pickytarian blend personal wellness with social responsibility? And why is giving back such a core part of your mission?
Yeah, I know. Thank you. All great questions. I think personally for me, wellness has always been a big part of my life, especially when I was going in my entrepreneurial journey about 3 years ago, 3 years ago rather. The first thing I prioritized was my physical wellness and my mental wellness because I know that entrepreneurship is hard, running a business is hard, and it was one of those things where I remember like it was like post pandemic. I was starting this business. I was bootstrapping it, using a lot of my savings to fund the company. And one day I was like, my life, if I look at it, does not make sense, but I feel good about it. And I think it's because I was working out a lot and also meditating in the morning. Like, if you looked at my life, you were like, what are you doing? This is insane. You've like spent all your money on this idea and you're not making any money yet. But I was like, no, I actually feel great and optimistic. And then I was like, I think it's because I've been working out and meditating. And I think if I did not do those things, as soon as like I hit like a setback, it would have consumed me. And so it's something that I prioritize until this day. I actually went to the gym this morning before I came to before I came to the show. It's a huge, huge part of my life. To the point about like giving back, I think also it was something that was really important to me. So I volunteer in LA for an organization called Grassroots Neighbors. Basically,
Mhm.
they prepare meals every Sunday. They get a kitchen in a church. They prepare meals and then they go distribute it out to the various homeless communities in LA. LA is huge for unhoused homeless population, and so I volunteered with them consistently for like 2 years, for the past 2 years, and then I've done it, on and off throughout this year as well. But I just saw how affected people were, and I just felt like whenever I start a business, I want to give back, and usually people give back profits, and when you start a business, you're not making any profits for a very long time. But
Right.
I wanted to give back from the revenue and from the sales because I knew it was going to be like a stick that I put in the ground of I want to do this because I don't want to defer it to the future because I may never do it. But if I made it a core part of my mission, I'll make sure it's always top of mind and I'll make sure that we always do that. So, every quarter we distribute funds from the sales from all our customers back to organizations like that to just really support them and let them know that their work is appreciated and to continue to support their efforts.
That's great. I was just gonna, that was my next question. Who are you contributing to? Do you just contribute to one organization, or are you doing multiple organizations?
Right now, it's one consistently, but throughout the last year, we've given back to some other like groups, the Red Cross, like a bunch of other different organizations here and there. But I think Grassroots Neighbors, because I know them personally and I've worked with them and I've seen the work, I've actually gone and given out food like in the streets of LA to people. I actually got to know many of the people who are unhoused in the streets of LA. That was more personal to me. So I was like, okay, I know that when I give them this money, I know where it's going and I know that the
Right.
lives that it's impacting. They also provide meals to like people who are lower income. So if you wanted groceries, they like buy a bunch of groceries every week. They suck it up in their warehouse and then anybody can come in and say, "Hey, I need some diapers, I need some milk, I need some cereal, something, anything." And then they just provide it to them. So I think it's because I have a personal connection to that organization. It made sense for me to give
Sure.
back. Eventually, as we grow the company, I want to give back to more people and more organizations beyond just this first one.
Great. Did any hurricane stuff going on? Did you, I'm not sure this is necessarily something that hurricane people would need, but did anyone reach out to you during the current hurricane situation?
No one did, but I did donate personally. This is more for my own personal contributions to organizations that were supporting and providing. supplies to those who are affected. But no one personally reached out to me for that. I've had people reach out for donations, like some
Sure.
schools will reach out and say, "Can you donate for this school event?" I'm like, "Sure, happy to do it." So I've given out a lot of free product because for me I'm just like, okay, I don't like I want to make sure people get what they need when they need it. But I've never not specifically to the hurricane beyond my
Sure.
personal
Sure.
contributions. Yeah.
No shame that not. I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
great
I can't,
question.
I can't believe 15 minutes has already gone by already. We have a commercial break and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Instead of taking a toxic pill to help with erections or, for sexual health, I encourage men to start really changing the diet so we can start clearing out some of this lymphatic stuff out of the lymphatic system. This help opens up the blood vessels and widens them to get the blood flow so they can maintain and sustain a good erection. In addition to that, using like watermelon and also juicing the watermelon skin itself because this has citrulline in it, and this is also an amino acid that helps with this as well. So then what happens is your body will start signaling you by getting inflammation or having an acne outbreak or something like that. So that is where, again, the fruit comes in because fruits have the astringent power to help break up the stagnant mucus in the body. And it's the citrus fruits that really do that. So you're not going to be having an attack of like where you would just have, let's say, like if you were drinking Sunny D or that kind of juice. So that's
Right.
something I tell people. And if you are concerned about the sugar intake, you can also dilute juices like with a coconut water. But again, I've been doing juicing for many years, and juicing was the catalyst for my transformation. And I do both fruit and green juices, but I would say it's probably like a 50-50 between the fruit and greens. So I always tell people it's really important to make sure you also get your greens in as well because you want to make sure that you're getting those minerals as well.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're with Laide, the Pickytarian, and we're talking about her company and product of eco-friendly dinnerware. And um, I'm just so impressed, and I am really in awe of what you've created. You seem pretty young to me. I don't know how old you are. And I wanted to know about mindset shift. How do you encourage consumers to rethink their everyday choices from disposable dinnerware to the way they approach wellness? I mean, obviously, you're into wellness, and this is all a part of it. So, how do you help people create a mind shift towards wellness and sustainability?
Yeah, I think I'll start with the sustainability piece. I think for me, like I'm not there are a lot of people who like live they really try to make sustainability the focal point of their lives in the sense that they never use plastic, they avoid like they take the bikes instead of driving, like they're very all about it. And I think like for those people that's amazing and that's what we all aspire to. But I also know that in this world we live in, it's not practical entirely to do that for most people.
Sure.
And so one
Hmm.
of the things to do with Pickytarian, like people have reached out to me and said, I want to use your product every day. And I'm always like, no, this is not a daily use product. Please do dishes or please like, you know, just don't be wasteful. But if you're throwing a party or you having people over and you want to use it, great, but it's not for daily use. So I actually prevent people from purchasing my product because I'm like, I do not think you should use this daily if that's your goal, but use it to entertain, use it to host, use it to hang out. But I just think it's like not necessary. So and then on our website, I talk about the whole point of doing it as baby steps. So you want to reuse first, recycle, reduce, and then if you have to use a single-use product, obviously use something that's obviously nicer, eco-friendly, compostable, biodegradable, and we encourage you to do that. So that's really what we're doing with the business. It's really not we're not people who are like don't ever use plastic. Plastic is bad. Plastic is bad, but I also know that in this day and age and the world we live in, it's really hard to avoid it completely in your life. And so it's just do your best, do what you can, be mindful as best as you can. And that's just take one day at a time. And every little thing you do, every little progress you make makes a difference. And that's great. I think for wellness in general, like a lot of it is just more of a personal journey for me, as opposed to like I think we're
Mhm.
still trying to figure out our angle and how do we combine wellness and sustainability. But a lot of it is just more personal wellness and really just making sure that I take care of myself and make sure that I'm able to be able to provide great customer service, be able to come up with new designs, new creatives, and then in my community of friends and family, also encourage them to go out and take time off, work out, meditate, just shift the way you're thinking about things and realize that, as people would say, a lot of life is how you react to it. It's not really what happens to you. And so you have to be in a good space to be able to be aware of that and then react as best as you can to any situation you're faced with.
That's really great. You touched upon all the things. After the party, one of my sons, who is going to be leaving home soon, was,
Aw.
using the plates, the leftover plates, for his snacks and for his things, and I freaked out. I'm like, "What are you doing? Those aren't for every day. Those are for special occasions."
That's
And
great.
I hid them on him because he was being careless with them. And we actually had other stupid, flimsy white paper plates that he could have been using, but he was using those.
Because they
So
look nice. I don't blame him. They look nice. I don't blame him, but you did the right thing and hiding it from him.
I know. I mean, I was not having it. That's all I can say.
That's awesome.
So there is something called greenwashing. So what's the difference between greenwashing and sustainability? I know sustainability is kind of a buzzword now.
It
How
is.
does Pickytarian avoid greenwashing and stay true to its commitment to eco-friendliness?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of greenwashing. I also I take a interest in I have an interest in take in sustainability in general. Like I try not to use it, but I use it because I understand that it's a category word that people use to subscribe to like businesses like mine. I definitely think like nothing is truly sustainable. Like if you want to be really sustainable,
Mm,
like don't create anything ever and just like use
right.
what's, from the soil and let it go back, but
Sure.
never like create things. So I think if I want to be literal about the word sustainability, nothing is really sustainable. But to your point about greenwashing, right? I think it's really people use a lot of buzzwords and things like that. And I think the
Mhm.
beautiful thing, I live in California, and California is actually cracking down on a lot of greenwashing stuff. You can't biodegradable. Everything is biodegradable, but not everything is compostable. So
Oh,
people use the same terms because they think it means the same thing. But like plastic is biodegradable. It will like go back. It will eventually disintegrate after like 100 years, 200 years, but it's
okay.
not compostable.
See, I
Right.
didn't know that. If you could
Yeah.
explain a little more about that, just for my own understanding. I mean, because these are the things I believe they put on packages where
Yeah.
people see and hear them, or, there's a picture of a farm on there. So, oh, these must be healthy and more natural. So, what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is just in the words. So biodegradable, everything is biodegradable in the sense that, if you leave like if you like this blazer I'm wearing, for example, if I throw it in the trash and maybe it gets enough oxygen and stuff like that, and when it's in the landfills, eventually after I don't know how many years, I would say maybe 50 years or something, it'll eventually like disintegrate and like just
Right.
be dissipated. But I think the thing is that's 50 years. Whereas like if you use a compostable product that was truly compostable, made of bamboo or sugarcane or any of those sort of earth renewable resources, then it
Mhm.
disintegrates after, maybe 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, maybe max a year. It's
Oh,
not going
wow.
to just be there for like 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And so when people say biodegradable, it's essentially greenwashing because you can put it on any plastic thing and say it's biodegradable. And that is correct. It is biodegradable, but you think of it as eco-friendly. It's really not. It's still going to end up in the landfill. It's still going to pollute the landfill, and it's still going to be there for hundreds of years and never eventually like uh, be broken down properly in the soil.
That's really good to know. I mean, I literally just got an education there because I just thought biodegradable was compostable. That's what that meant.
It's
It's
meant to confuse you.
logical. But now that I have this new knowledge, I'm like, oh, okay. So that's another way, like you said, to greenwash and manipulate the public. I literally thought, oh, biodegradable, but I didn't think it through. How long does it take for your product to go back into the earth?
Yeah, for us, so the plates is 3 to 6 months, and they're right now they're commercially compostable. Just to be clear, so when you put in a compostable bin, they goes to a commercial center, and then that gets compostable. We're eventually working on how can we make it home compostable so that you
Oh,
can get one of those home machines and put that in there, and they would eventually go out. So we're working on getting there right now. But for us, it's 3 to 6 months for the plates and the cutlery for it to be composted back into and broken down into the soil.
so I'm wondering because they say when you have to put stuff in recycling, can you do that? Because they always want you to clean the things that you're recycling. So can we recycle these or do we just put them in the trash?
It's a great question. I think it depends on what you eat on it, right? So if you're eating like light snacks, things like that are not that aren't oily, you can put them in
Mhm.
this in the recycle bag or in the bin, and you should be okay. It's when you have things that are like oily, that then that
Right.
is really like where it's no longer recyclable because it contaminates a lot of the other materials that are going to be in the recycle bin. So the recommendation is really to use it. You can obviously compost first, and if you can't do that, you can put it in the trash. But that's those are the options. I know not everybody has access to like a compost bin, but at least it's better than like plastic being thrown in the trash. So that's sort of how I compromise it in my head, I guess. Yeah.
No, I mean it's a better option for sure. So how I'm sure you had to do a lot of research to pick these two resources to use for your product. Uh, how did what are all the things that you researched and then finally came down with these sources?
Yeah, I'm still learning every day. Like I'm not, I didn't start my career in like sustainability or, understanding the different materials. I think I just knew that there were certain materials that were better than others. I knew bamboo
Hmm.
was always it's one of those materials that grows really quickly. So even when you take out bamboo to create products, within like 3 to 6 months, it shoots back up into the from the ground and you can reuse it again and like again and again. So it's not a resource that depletes the soil. Kind of like when people say you cut down trees to make paper, it's really hard to grow those trees back sometimes, I've heard. And so I think with bamboo, it doesn't have that same fate as a tree or like a plant that you may never grow back in the same like soil again. Again, these are all just my learnings. And so with bamboo, I
Hmm.
just felt that it was a more renewable resource, and sugarcane pulp that is also has
Hmm.
some good properties. It's very strong, it's very flexible. It can be molded into different shapes. It's one
Right.
of those products. People make bamboo shirts now, bamboo pans, bamboo. Everything is everywhere because it is just one of those resources that is better than using like trees or things like that that are not as that are subject to deforestation in a way that bamboo isn't.
Right. So, how did you find the manufacturer? Like, do you go to a farm, then bring it to a manufacturer? Can you? I'm really
Yeah.
fascinated. Maybe no one else is, but I would just love to know the process of how you got to the finished product.
Yeah, most of the bamboo is actually made in Asia, so that's really where it's grown from. So a lot of my products are made out of Taiwan and parts of China as well, but that's really where bamboo is really grown. And so there was a thought of I was actually when I actually started, I called a lot of factories in the U.S. trying to make it because I really wanted a made in America product, and nobody will work with me. Everybody was like, "We don't do that. This is too much. It's a lot of effort." Like manufacturing in the U.S. is really a pain, and it's not. It's sadly not. I hope it comes back, but it didn't seem like it was. It seems like it's a thing of the past, but I believe it's going to come back. But I think for the products I was trying to make, people were just kind of like not interested at all. And so I thought about, okay, do I go get the bamboo and the material and then ship it over to the US to go to some other parts of North America to make it? But then when I thought about it, I was like, okay, I need to make it close to the source because that's also less impact on the environment because because if you think about it, it's like, yeah, I could go get the bamboo and then ship it to the US, and it's still like I'm still contributing some way to like to like adding more carbon and stuff like and
Right.
to the environment. So I was like, okay, let me just do it close to the source, and then work with them to really make the product that I want to seek, and then eventually figure out a way to move it closer to home. And so that's sort of where I am right now, but it's made close to the source in Taiwan and parts of Asia as well.
That sounds logical. And obviously, you're comfortable with the company that, they're doing upstanding sourcing and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like it's really good to just find I've been a lot to Asia in my career, working for big tech companies. So I understood like what I was looking for as far as quality, consistency, honesty, just ethical
Yeah.
manufacturing and things like that. So that was also a priority for me because I've seen that in other companies I've worked at where we prioritize those things. So I knew what to ask. It was not just let me just get a product. I don't care where it came from. No, I actually cared where it came from and who the people were working on it, and really got to know them. So it was a really just a good collaborative partnership. Great people to work with.
That's wonderful. Guess what? We have another break coming up right now. So we'll be right back.
Thank you.
And we don't have a special chute that chemicals leave our body. So they get lodged in our organs, in our fat tissues, in our connective tissue. And when people think that they're doing all the right things, but they're still sad or they're still having erratic emotions, anger, even, it's because of those kinds of things that we're not even making the connection.
I wouldn't say it was because women were complaining about their men, although that definitely was happening. Um, I just seen the need more than ever. There's a lot of men that are lost, and I was that man. By the way, I was the man who didn't know how to lead in a relationship, didn't know how to lead in a marriage, didn't know how to lead financial. Like so, I was that man. But over the years, working on myself, I learned what it really meant to be a man. I learned what it really meant to be a leader and provider and a protector, which I didn't know what that was before. I thought I did, but I didn't. And then looking out into the world, there's people in that space that are guiding men, and some of what they say is good, but then a
Right.
lot of what they say is it's not good. It's almost like it pits men and women against each other,
Oh.
and that's not good. We need each other, and it's my belief that women are they're just unbelievable. They're just unbelievable creatures. Like God was not playing when He created them.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are with Laide, the Pickytarian, who offers eco-friendly, compostable dinnerware and cutlery. For me, this has been a really interesting conversation, and I learned some stuff about labeling, biodegradable versus composting, compostable, and kind of how I think the food industry or the manufacturers have kind of fooled us into thinking certain things with buzzwords. And I hope you learn things as well. Hi, Day. You are a young entrepreneur, and I think this would anybody could kind of make a hand cream or body lotion or you know makeup or whatever. But I think this is a really big endeavor that you have really done very well, and that not everybody could do this. And I think you overcame a lot of manufacturing and consumer um, difficulties in getting something out there into the world. So I'd really like to know some advice for other people who have these great ideas but just don't know where to go, or they think they got to go on Shark Tank or something like that. So what can you share with our audience who's thinking, hey, I want to bring my idea to fruition?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I think anybody who endeavors to make anything, regardless of the product, is it's a huge feat. So kudos to everybody out there who's thinking of doing something. I think like the number one thing, this is not sexy, is like it's not easy. It's really hard, and so I think you need a lot of resilience as a quality to be able to be an entrepreneur, because you hear a lot of no's, you go through a lot of setbacks. But you have, if you really believe in the idea or believe this is something you want to see in the world, you'll find a way to make it happen. I think the things I've learned in my journey was when I first launched it, I was really just trying to move really fast and like try everything, and was just
Or-
putting myself in a billion different directions. And I realized that I needed to just focus and figure it out and pick one avenue and like figure that out first before going to the next thing. And so
Mhm.
my advice would be, don't, there's a lot of advice out there. Don't try to implement everything. I think I tried to do a lot of everything because I was trying to grow the business to reach certain milestones really quickly, and I'm realizing that that was not the path for this business or for me. And so I think
Mhm.
if you're depending on your product, if you're it's a physical product or consumer goods or hand cream, makeup, whatever, the slower you can go to actually test the product
That's
out first, get some validation from your customers, make sure things are good and you like it. Do that first, and don't shortcut that step. And then eventually, when it comes to like marketing your product, like do your best to get the word out. But I would say like for those kinds of products, slower is better, than trying to do it really big, really quickly, and then just crash and burn. And so I think you just have to have the patience to know that like you may not, you may just take a lot. Everything takes longer than you think it will take. That's the thing I've learned as well.
Mhm.
You have to, and everything that you think is going to go wrong goes wrong and more. So I think just being aware that like I knew it was going to take a long time, and even for me, I was like, it's actually taking a lot longer than my initial long timer estimate that I gave it. And I think it's just like a reality of just being an entrepreneur, especially in this economy, is everything's going to take longer, and you just have to have patience and resilience to see it through.
That's really great advice. I got the question now. Do these products have to be approved by anyone? Like what, what goes into there? Like permits? I don't know what kind of question to ask about it, but do you have to get these approved by anyone before you can actually put them out there to the consumer?
Not from what I know, not really. But what we did was we wanted to make sure that it was tested and vetted properly. So we got it certified by the Biodegradable Products Institute, as a way to just make sure that it is we got the certificate to prove that it is certified for like compostability. And so we
Mhm.
got that just to make sure that it was good. We also did some tests, like the FDA has tests and guidelines that they give you for certain product categories. We also did a test. It's not certified by the FDA, but we looked at the tests and the rubrics that they have to make sure that
Mhm.
our products were also like FDA compliant, and they
Mhm.
are. And so we just took our own like initiative to do those kinds of things for the product, because I wanted to just make sure that when people were getting the product, they were getting something that was tested by third parties as well. And we
Mhm.
also did our due diligence to make sure that we were testing it in compliance with the FDA. And there's another organization called ASTM that does compostability. We wanted to make sure that they were compliant with those standards as well.
Have you been following the recent petition against Kellogg's and their ingredients? Have you heard anything about that
I heard
lately?
a little bit, but I don't. You can tell me more about it. I've heard like just I just saw the headlines, but I didn't actually read it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. There's a woman, Vani Hari. She's known as the Food Babe, and she has gone after like Subway and Starbucks and Anheuser-Busch for different ingredients in their products. And I mean, there's this whole thing right now. The headline is Kellogg's is poisoning your children.
Mm,
And it's not just hearsay. She gathered 400,000 petitions, went to Capitol Hill, is presenting to them to get the ingredients that are illegal in Europe but allowed to be used here and are FDA approved. So sometimes I'm a little on the fence about the
mm,
FDA and what they're approving. And I would look into it because I can see you as being a supporter and an advocate for bringing pure products and ingredients to the consumer. It really looks
Oh,
like you walk the talk. You don't just talk it. And you seem like an amazing businesswoman. How old
thank
are
you.
you?
I'm
Do you mind
35.
asking?
Yeah, that's fine.
35.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You are so not above, ahead of the curve,
Oh,
and
thank you.
it's really impressive. I want to keep in touch with you. I've been
Thank
telling
you,
people
Maria.
about your product. I have used it. And the other thing is it holds up to grease. They don't leak. Um, and if you have a lot of things on these plates, they're durable. They hold everything. You know, they're not
Thank you.
bending as you're trying to cut and use them. And you know what? At the end of the day, you just feel good about using them and
Yeah,
supporting a small business like you. And, we're kind of out of time here.
that's
And
great.
I just want to let you know that we are so pleased to have you. And I
Yeah,
am going to be promoting you more. And it's something we need to support each other and support small
great.
businesses. And I wish you all the luck in your endeavors, and I will
You as
continue to
well.
support you and continue to buy your products and use them with peace of mind. I know that you might have a coupon code for our listeners that they can use,
You.
and I'll put them in description when I get this up on YouTube. Uh, can you share that with us now, or
Yeah.
should we wait?
I will. No, I'll share with you. I just want to say thank you again for having me. It's been great to be on your show, and thank you for just being a supporter and being a customer. I'm always delighted to see customers and people like you buying our products. I just want to say thank you so much for your support. And you bought it for a special occasion, your a birthday, and I was like, oh, that's huge. So felt the nerves, but I'm glad you got it in time. So, and I'm glad you loved it. So thank you. As far as the discount code, I'm giving out 30% to all listeners. So the code is wellness30. I'll send the link out. We can post that in the notes as you mentioned. But it's the code is going to be wellness 30% off all our products in our store.
That's awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. Laide, so happy to have you. And,
Likewise.
social media is such a double edged sword. If it wasn't for social media, I would never have found you. I don't remember
Yeah.
how, or, I think it was on Instagram, but I'm glad we made this connection and we're able to promote you and your business. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Maria. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, everybody, we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
This has been Taking Healthy Back with your host, Maria. Tune in each week as Maria will empower you to put your wellness in your control. Right here, Fridays, noon Eastern, on the Bold Brave TV network.